Hi everyone, this is Marina from Voltapp. Today I'm going to teach you how to create an app without coding in 5 minutes. Let's go. So welcome to Voltapp. What's Voltapp? It's a tool that we've created that allows you to easily create your own apps on a computer or on your phone using small blocks of code. These small blocks of code are a bit like Legos that you can combine, copy and paste, which will give you something very powerful. So basically, you're going to go into a kind of app store where you can have a lot of apps, and you'll be able to really go into them and find out how they're designed. So you'll be able to see all the little features, for example, the little building blocks that are what we call code blocks. So there are several of them that are already available for formatting, for doing interactions, and so on. But the clever thing is that we're going to be able to combine these little pieces of code to make larger pieces of code. And then we'll be able to copy paste them, just like we would copy paste text, for example, which means that you're going to be able to sort of go shopping around and say, oh, well, I like this navigation system. I'm going to take it for my app. Or, for example, I like this geolocation system. I'll take it for my app. And that way you can go very far and very fast. So you can make apps for events, you can make apps for logistics, for your marketplace like this one. And you can that way really have the flexibility that you lack in some softwares to create your own features. As you can see here, you have apps that are both mobile and desktop, so your app will be able to adapt to all sorts of screens. Now I'm going to show you a second secret weapon that will allow you to go very fast in designing apps, meaning that each component will have precise functionalities, precise properties, if you will. Here we can see a red button that has several properties. So it has the text, which is right here, and for example, let's say the color, which is here. What we've created is a system of variables. So variables are states that are stored in these different properties that allow you, when you make a change, to be able to pass it absolutely everywhere in your app. So for example, here the color of my button is a color variable. So we're going to change it right here once. Let's say we want to go from orange to red, for example, and now all the other places that contain small button elements or other elements that are tied to this variable will also have the impact of the change we just made. Let's say, for example, I go right here, you can see that all these elements that were tied to the variable are now red. But that's not all, because it offers tons of possibilities to control an app through all the data stored. In fact, if I want to create my own feature, let's say I want to, for example, click on this text here and make it so that when I click on this text, it changes the color of my button. Then it becomes a very precise feature that can be made directly in Voltapp. So how do we do that? Well, all we have to do is select an element. In our case, we want to click on this text, and we're going to switch to graph mode, which is a smart scenario, and I'm going to be able to code my feature live. So what does that mean? Well, it means that I'll be on a sort of big whiteboard like this one, and I'm going to first define a small block of events, which represent what's going on, what the trigger of an action is. So I'm going to start by adding an event. I have several possible events. For example, if my mouse enters an area, which could allow us to, for example, measure the interest of a person when they visit an app or a website. I'm going to select click because it's the one we were talking about. I'm just going to double click, and here we have the event. And now I can simply click here, extend the arrow, and change the color of my button, which will be this one right here. So as you can see here, the color right now is set to red, but since that's what we have it as, I'm simply going to change it to blue. And that's it. I've written code. I'm going to show you in 1 second exactly what it does. So I'm going to test it right away with preview, and now we can see that when I click on the text, it turns blue. Not just here, it turns blue everywhere, as you can see here. So really you'll be able to design your own features very easily. You could also add various logical links, like conditions, for example. You could say, I want to change the color of the button if I click here, and if I'm a visitor, and if I'm registered, for example, and so on and so forth. And you're going to be able to actually document each of your logics and each of your elements on the screen simply by putting comments or, for example, by creating very visual groups. So if you design your app, you'll be able to share your project with your whole team at the same time. And this is how to create applications without coding with Voltapp.